Few
6,
seconds and
5. Oh, make a move.
He will be flagged. Yeah, he's flagged. No. No, to finish that way.
It happened again. Many of you will remember this moment from the 2024 World Rapid and Blitz Chess Championships. Chucky was playing against the late Daniel Naroditsky and he lost a game on time that he was winning and just crumbled. Fast forward to today, it's round 11 of the European Rapid Championships. He's in the final round. He's playing for gold against Lithuanian Grandmaster Paulius Pultinavičius. Whoever wins this takes the tournament, right? And he loses on time. But wait till you see the final position he had, the brilliant sacrifice he played in the middle of the game, and then I'll bring you the second half of that opening clip. It really wrenches at your heart. We see d4 from Paulius here, knight f6. They've both got 15 minutes starting, plus 10 seconds a move increment. Now we see the knight develop to f3 to avoid a mainline Nimzo Indian. So many top guys do. Chucky builds the banana hammock. Paulius so impressed he copies, and now, is it a wrist slip? The bishop misses the square, a kind of hyper fianchetto, but it puts an awkward question to white. Do you want to go b3? That's a compromise in some small way, or something like this, or queen c2. Now you defend the pawn, you hit the bishop, it nudges back. Black's arguing your queen is now misplaced. We see that in the next couple moves. Bang! Advance of the c pawn, hitting the centre, ever so slightly less defended by the queen. And after castles, we get takes on d4. It's some deep grandmother theory, and bishop takes on g2. This is a good exchange for black, getting rid of a defender. By the way, would be remiss of me not to mention Black Friday. There's a huge sale on right now at the Remote Chess Academy. If you want to go on that journey to 2000, get in while the course is under $100. Truly fantastic. Teaches you the kind of grandmaster thinking, like what pieces to give up, like right here, when to exchange the knights or the bishops, playing on color complexes, when to play positionally or for initiative, etc. Fantastic course. Links in the description. Only 3 times a year at this incredible price. Let's crack on. Bishop e7 looking natural. Queen c8 also an idea. But we see pawn a6. Very weird looking move. You're about to see the really deep point. I thought it was about this, but it seems not. We see rook d1, natural. Bishop e7, and now surely you develop the second pony, but no, queen b3. And you've always got to ask yourself with these top guys, why are they declining to play the natural move? Castles, here is the point revealed. The queen slides to f3, where it hits the undefended rook, a manoeuvre not possible if the knight stood here, and now you put this uncomfortable question to black, how do you defend it? Because if you play the natural knight c6, I mean it's terrible for many reasons, but not least you lose a piece, your queen, your knight, whatever, pawn hangs, so this the only move. Chucky plays it of course, now the seahorse is spawned, d6, this is a hedgehog pawn structure. Be careful if you play against it over the board. These pawns do get spiky if you try and capture them. Now we see pawn b3, queen c8, headed for those light squares, protecting this one more especially, and a4. Again, you didn't have to play that move. You could have played the natural fianchetto. Interestingly, the other top move of the engine is pushing a rook pawn. It's modern chess. Now we see rook c7. Lovely from Chucky, by the way, leaving this one at home, breaking the principles. This looks kind of natural, but this one selected instead. Also good. Finally, Chucky gets all his bits out, and the best way for white to play here is actually clamping on the center. On a good day, you get queen e2, h3, f4, that kind of stuff. Dominate the center. But not played. King g1. I mean, arguably it was better on g2, but maybe now avoids the exchange. Rook d8 looks natural, but this was played, not covering the weak pawn. Again, e4 is good. Little mysterious rook move, although not that mysterious, but instead a5's on the board, and it's actually a micro inaccuracy, or slightly more than micro, because Chucky now attacks the queen. She moves, f4 was also an option, and now takes on a5. You mangle the structure, but you set a trap, and Paulius falls into it. He plays rook takes on a5, the most natural move. You actually had to hold off a second and start with knight e4, slowly regather that pawn at the right tactical moment. When you do it immediately, you run into a tactic. Can you find the brilliancy that Chucky unleashed here, well into his 50s, still very sharp? It's rook takes on c4. I mean, even the Global Chess Committee watching on were loving this one. Now, the point is, if pawn takes, not played, knight recaptures, and you're losing that rook, and therefore you'll end up 2 pawns ahead. You just can't stay with the rook. You know, if you try this, well, you kick the queen away. It can't stay on the 5th rank. So you cannot touch this rook. This was therefore played. Best counter shot for the reasons mentioned. Pawn takes back. Now we get the takes here. Takes, takes. And when the smoke clears, the material is level, but Chucky solved all his problems and then some. Queen c6 now highlights the fact that black has a small initiative here, because this knight can't move to either of the comfortable squares. You've got it all nicely covered, and therefore the black pieces can start activating. So rook a1 was tried. Rook b8 in response, bishop a3. These ones leave the board. Now all that's been said, it's still only one small initiative for black. They both have weaknesses. It's not that much, but it's Chucky slightly ahead. This knight covers this square. Important, or you'd be getting almost mated. Whoops, wrong arrow, meant to do the queen. This was now played, heading for this c5 blockading square, and so we get queen a7 to fight back. Hits the loose rook here. You have to do something. b7 would be clumsy. Pawn's also under fire. So this takes care of all the problems. Queen backing up now. The seahorse now lands, also dominating this guy once more. And rook a2 tries to re-enter the game. Don't go to a1 or you run into this fork, right? So this is more natural. Now we see h6 to give some Lufthansa. Queen f4 stops rook b8. Rook c8 therefore played, targeting the c-pawn. Rook b2, knight d7 opens the line of fire, and Paulius just crumbles here, low on time. He should play queen d4. Idea is you take me, I'd then take your knight. So you can't take the pawn. Well, then you take here, but fine. It's the best way to play. He didn't do it. He played rook a2. Gets those double question marks of doom because simply black can take a pawn. And after this queen takes, you know, basically forced, well, you could go rook a3 as well. But this is played. Didn't want to compromise the structure. You can't take the a pawn because the knight is hanging. So knight a4 was played, and Chucky is just a clean pawn ahead. Outside runner. He's going for gold here. He's minus 1-ish or so. This isn't the best plan, but it's good enough to keep a significant advantage. But this is the tragic moment that he didn't get his move off. Pawn h4. Loses on time. Such a gut punch for Chucky as he's getting that bit older now. And he therefore comes, was it second or third now? Maybe third or something. And Paulius wins it clean on his own. But Chucky would have won with 9.5 points if it had clinched this game. Hope you enjoyed this one. Do check out the Remote Chess Academy Black Friday and have a look at the video on screen for some more epic chess. Cheers.